Good morning, viewers. You're now watching Hornbill TV's Morning Pulse. Speaking at the India Energy Week, Canada's Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, Tim Hodgson, made a strong statement on global economic pressures and energy security. Without naming any country, Hodgson said India does not need to be reminded of how economic integration can be misused as a tool of coercion or how powerful nations often deploy tariffs on leverages. Highlighting the rapidly changing global order, he said energy now lies at the very heart of geopolitics. Hodgson added that the best way to respond to these challenges is by strengthening multilateral partnerships and aggressively diversifying energy supply chains, an approach he said Canada is keen to pursue alongside India.
I'm here because, as we've heard, energy security is really rising to the forefront of how we move forward globally right now. And it's important to both Canada and India, and we'll have a number of conversations, myself and my colleagues in the Indian government. And I think that what we have to understand is the backdrop. And I think many of you heard the Canadian Prime Minister in Davos last week. And he had some tough words, but he spoke truth. He spoke what is actually happening in the world today. And what is happening in the world today is not a gradual economic transition. It is a rupture. It is a rupture in the way the global trading system works. The rules-based order that we all have been building our economies around, one that was based on multilateralism, one that was based on free trade, the hegemons of the world have decided that's not the way the world's going to work anymore. They've decided the world will work in a much more mercantilist way. So what does that mean? I don't need to tell India what it means when people use their economic integration with your country for coercion. I don't need to tell you what it means when hegemons use tariffs as leverage. It is a changing world we live in, and energy is at the center of that. I'm here because, like you, the way to resist that change is to build multilateral relationships and to double down on diversification of supplies. What you just did with the EU signing the mother of all deals was a perfect example of how to say, no, we're not going to live in a world where might makes right. We're not going to live in a world where the strongest put tariffs on everyone else. We're going to live in a world where we believe in free trade, where we believe in trusted relationships. In Canada, we are one of the largest energy producers in the world. As was said, we are the in terms of critical minerals, to power your energy transition, you need access to critical minerals. You've built a $4 billion fund to help bring those resources here so you can be the leader in clean energy you want to be. Canada is a great supplier of those critical minerals, and we'll be talking about that. And a number of our companies are here at this conference to both help you develop your own critical minerals, but where we have ones to share to help you with energy transition, we will be doing that. I think, Your Excellency, you talked about LNG becoming 15% of your energy mix. What I hear when I visit places like London or Germany, I hear very clearly, hey, we made a mistake. We relied on one supplier for natural gas, and that was a very strategic blunder. We can never let that happen again. We need to diversify our supply. Canada used to provide 98% of its energy to one customer. We are committed to diversifying our supply. We see the opportunity to work with India, as was said, to the fastest growing demand for energy in the world will be in India, whether it's LNG, LPG, uranium, where we have the world's largest supplies of uranium, whether it's oil. We're now building pipelines to the West Coast. We have 3 pipelines built. We are looking at building more. That is because we believe the world we want to live in is one where we're going to trade with everyone. We will never use our energy for coercion. We believe middle powers. At the last G7, we announced 26 transactions with 11 different countries, working on improving the investability in critical minerals, trying to create greater certainty. That's through offtake agreements, in some cases price floors. That's in providing money for infrastructure. I know many other countries have been invited to start participating in the buyers group. What we're trying to do is create more of a level playing field. You know, we've got one of the hegemons who's interested in controlling supply chains, and they have used that as part of the geopolitics that we're seeing. The critical minerals buying group is designed to create more certainty of supply for OEMs around the world. India has a huge number of OEMs who are going to rely on these critical minerals to make the renewable energy, whether it's wind, whether it's solar, and then things like automobiles, airplanes, ships that all use these critical minerals. What we're trying to do is organize, as you said, Your Excellency, use state power to organize the development of these so we have a more predictable supply of critical minerals.
Union Minister for Electronics and Information Technology Ashwini Vaishnav highlighted key achievements of the India Semiconductor mission as it completes 4 years, and he said 10 semiconductor projects are currently under construction, while production for their 4 project is set to begin this year. Vaishnav added that the 24 project startups have successfully designed semiconductor chips, and over 315 educational institutions have provided training to students in chip designs. He emphasized that the mission aims to create India's own intellectual property across 6 critical computing systems comprising RF, networking, power, sensor and memory, strengthen the country's self-reliance in the semiconductor sector.
आज आपने देखा किस तरह से हमारे स्टार्टअप्स ने सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स के डिज़ाइन, जो डिज़ाइन लिंक्ड इंसेंटिव सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन के अंतर्गत एक महत्वपूर्ण कंपोनेंट था DLI, उसमें किस तरह से हमारे स्टार्टअप्स ने सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स डिज़ाइन करके उनका प्रोडक्शन किया है, और करीब 430 करोड़ रुपए का वेंचर कैपिटल फंडिंग भी उनके पास आया है। करीब 24 स्टार्टअप्स ने DLI में पार्टिसिपेट किया, और उसमें से 14 स्टार्टअप्स हैव गॉट VC फंडिंग। ये बहुत बड़ा एक सिग्नल है, जो कि देश के लिए बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है। जो वर्षों से ड्रीम था कि भारत की कंपनियां सेमीकंडक्टर चिप डिज़ाइन करें, भारत में सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स मैन्युफैक्चर हो और भारत में एक आत्मनिर्भरता का नया आयाम बने। प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने इसी संकल्प के साथ इंडिया सेमीकंडक्टर मिशन आरंभ किया था, और आज उसके 4 वर्ष पूरे होने पे 10 प्रोजेक्ट्स कंस्ट्रक्शन में हैं, 4 प्रोजेक्ट्स इस साल प्रोडक्शन स्टार्ट करेंगे। 24 स्टार्टअप्स ने सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स डिज़ाइन किए, और 315 एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स में 67,000 स्टूडेंट्स ने सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स के डिज़ाइन की ट्रेनिंग ली है। बहुत कम समय में ये जो उपलब्धि है इसके पीछे प्रधानमंत्री जी का क्लियर विजन, फोकस्ड एग्जीक्यूशन और पूरे देश में जो हमारा टैलेंट है सेमीकंडक्टर की फील्ड में, उस टैलेंट को मेरा बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन। और आगे आने वाले समय में सेमीकंडक्टर की फील्ड में और बड़े स्टेप्स लिए जाएंगे, जिससे कि जिस लेवल पे अभी पहुँचे हैं उससे नेक्स्ट लेवल पे जा सके। हम 6 सिस्टम्स, कंप्यूट, RF, नेटवर्किंग, पावर, सेंसर और मेमोरी, in these 6 systems we will create India's own IP through the India Semiconductor Mission, so that we are able to manufacture and design practically every major equipment in our country. With these 6 systems, we practically can manufacture 70-75% of all the major defense, consumer electronics, industrial electronics, and the critical other applications that we need. And as we go into 2029, by the time the Semicon 2.0 would also be maturing, India will become a major player in semiconductor industry. And we have also mapped out the path for going from 28 nanometer to 7 nanometer to 3 nanometer to 2 nanometers. We have studied how Taiwan, Japan, South Korea and other countries have done this journey, and after studying that and based on the talent that we have charted out our path towards 2 nanometer in the coming years. By 2035, the entire world now believes that India will be among the most important semiconductor nations in the world.
In a major move for India's aviation sector, Embraer and Adani Defence and Aerospace have announced a strategic partnership to develop a regional transport aircraft ecosystem in India. Speaking about the initiative, Adani Defence and Aerospace President and CEO Ashish Rajvanshi emphasized that this is not just an Adani or Embraer project but an Indian aviation project. He said the focus goes beyond manufacturing aircraft, aiming to build the Indian economy from the ground up. Rajvanshi added that the project will create opportunities for Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, boosting local GDP and generating employment, thereby benefiting communities across the country.
So it's a big day for not only for Adani's or Embraer, it's a big day for India. What you will say about this?
Oh, this is, I'll echo your thoughts. This is not an Adani project or Embraer project, it's an Indian aviation project. And for me, this is not about building an aircraft. This is actually about building the Indian economy bottom up. It's an opportunity for the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities to come together and see how we can actually elevate the GDP coming from these cities, how we can create jobs which are going to benefit the people coming from these cities. So we're looking at the next 15 years as a significant growth story for Indian aerospace, and it's an exciting moment for us.
At Delhi.
Okay.
And after 2 months, why Adani choose? Because I have keen observation about Adani. So the choice is really very, there is some reason behind it. So I just want to know
the reason of Adani choosing Embraer or the two sides coming together? See, there are very few players in the global market who are actually working on regional transport. Yeah, so you don't have like 100 players out there. And de facto, Embraer being the leader in engineering and aircraft was a very obvious choice of what can come to India. There's already a fleet which is being operated by Star Air, which is operating in India, and very, very efficient aircrafts. So, yeah, why not?
it's not only about aircraft, but the relationship between India and Brazil.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. So, similar countries, developing markets, similar values, and the two sides are looking at the future growth coming together. So, absolutely.
So yeah, one last question I need to know about all those same thing about timeline. What is in the pipeline? Because we are really very curious. Yeah, please.
So timelines, as we discussed in the Q&A, in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we'll be finalizing more or less all the details, what you're looking for, location, business model, investment. We'll come back to you. Yeah, and in the next couple of years, we're looking at the first aircraft to come out from India. So Fingers crossed.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Rajasthan Minister Jogram Patil said the opposition plays a constructive role in the assembly and assured full government cooperation while warning against disruption. He also defended the SIR process, stating that it is being conducted impartially by a constitutional body with no grounds for controversy.
विपक्ष लगातार कई मुद्दों पर सरकार को घेरने की बात कह रहा है, चाहे एसआईआर प्रक्रिया की बात हो या फिर अन्य कोई मुद्दे हो, आर्थिक स्थिति, बढ़ता क्राइम कथित रूप से। किस तरह देखते हैं अब आने वाला बजट सत्र को, क्योंकि कल से काफी महत्वपूर्ण है, बजट सत्र ये भी महत्वपूर्ण होता है।
राजस्थान में बजट सत्र विधानसभा में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण सत्र होता है। राजस्थान विधानसभा का गौरवपूर्ण इतिहास रहा है। यहीं से हमारे महामहिम भैरव सिंह जी शेखावत साहब, शिवसेन जी माथुर साहब, राम निवास जी जैसे बहुत ही वरिष्ठ राजनीतिज्ञ यहाँ से निकले। उन्होंने एक स्वस्थ परंपराएं कायम की है। विपक्ष हमारी ताकत है और मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि विपक्ष राजस्थान के विकास से संबंधित मुद्दों पर सकारात्मक भाव के साथ अपनी बात विधानसभा के पटल पर नियम और कायदे के अनुसार रखेंगे। सरकार उन सब बातों का, सुझावों का, आलोचना का, समालोचना का हर वक्त पूरी तथ्यों के साथ जवाब देने को तैयार है। परंतु फिर भी दिल्ली के इशारे पर या किसी के इशारे पर अगर प्रतिपक्ष के साथी जो हमारी ताकत है उसका दुरुपयोग करते हैं, ताकत का विधानसभा के पटल का दुरुपयोग करते हैं, सदुपयोग नहीं करते हैं, तो उसी भाषा में जवाब देने में हमारा भी हिचकिचाहट नहीं है। जहाँ तक एसआईआर का विषय है, ये एक संवैधानिक संस्था द्वारा अपने नियमों के अंतर्गत की गई कार्रवाई है और उनके लिए बाध्यता भी है। पूरी पारदर्शिता से, निष्पक्षता से कार्रवाई हो रही है। सेकेंड टर्म का जो कार्य है वो चल रहा है। फॉर्म नंबर 6 आए जिनका नाम जुड़वाना है, फॉर्म नंबर 7 आए जिनका नाम पर कोई आक्षेप है, फॉर्म नंबर 8 है नाम परिवर्तन के, उनकी मैपिंग हो रही है। जिनके संबंध में आक्षेप आए हैं उनको पूरी सुनवाई का अवसर दिया जा रहा है। बीएलओ सेकेंड चाहे किसी भी राजनीतिक दल का है उसको साथ रखा जाता है और अगर वो भारतीय नागरिक है, वोटर लिस्ट में नाम जुड़वाने की योग्यता रखता है तो उसका नाम रहेगा। भारतीय नागरिक नहीं है, वोटर लिस्ट में नाम रखने की योग्यता नहीं रखता है या एक से अधिक जगह पर नाम लिखवाना चाहता है, एक और कोई कारण है, तो उसकी जांच के उपरांत उसको सुनवाई का पूर्ण अवसर देने के उपरांत उसके संबंध में नियमानुसार कार्रवाई की जाएगी। इसीलिए इस संबंध में विवाद करने का कोई विषय ही नहीं है। आक्षेप करने का हर नागरिक को अधिकार है। निर्णय करना संवैधानिक प्रावधानों के तहत जो अधिकारी है उनका है, वो नियमों के अनुसार निर्णय करेंगे, पारदर्शिता से और निष्पक्षता से निर्णय करेंगे।
President Kaja Kala said countries increasingly trust the EU as a reliable and predictable partner that keeps its commitments adding.
Thank you, and it's really my honor to be here, so thank you for organizing this. It is two big democracies, and I think we have to put this in the geopolitical context, what everybody sees in the news every day. I think when I go around the world, I see more and more countries want to build partnerships with Europe because we are predictable, which is nowadays becoming a value. When we take a long time to negotiate deals, but when we do, then we stick to them. We actually, implement them. And that has become something that is of value. For the companies, if you have a constant threat of, tariffs in the air, then you don't really know what you have the next day, what you can really deal with. Now, when we get there finally, then we really keep our promises and keep our agreements. I think this is extremely important. Now, the geopolitical context is that we see multilateralism under constant strain or under heavy fire. We might even see that it doesn't exist anymore, so we need to build new partnerships with those countries that we share the same interests and really to try to find the way. And that is what the discussions has been about. Actually also building confidence in each other. listening to each other, because we can do a lot together on different fields, and we have mapped different fields when it comes to my competencies, security, defense, foreign policy, then, maritime security, very concrete thing where we have mutual interests, and then cybersecurity, both we are encountering this. Also sharing information. We are entering into negotiations about that because, to make decisions, you have to be aware of the facts and intelligence that is there. Trade routes or supply chains that function, both of our interests. Clean energy, connectivity, there's a lot what we can do. But what we want this really to be is about, practical things and practical steps. We even talked with the ministers, is like, let's start with very concrete implementation things, because what it does, it builds trust. Yeah. So we start to trust each other, because if you don't know the other part, and then it's like, how is the work really playing out? But if you already see the way the other party is working, then you can also know what to expect, and then it's easier. So start with concrete deliverables, and there was a lot. So I think the feeling in the room is really genuine interest for building trade relations, but also other issues when it comes to geopolitical picture as well, because we see superpowers wanting to rewrite the multilateral order where everything is divided. We have seen that in the history before, and I don't think, coming from a small country, I can honestly say this is not in small countries and medium-sized countries' interest. Of course, India is not a small country, that's very clear, but still I think there is room for cooperation for the European Union with India also regarding foreign policy.
Right. We have sort of travelled quite a journey, and in a sense...
Rajasthan LOP and Congress leader Tikaram Juli said the opposition wants smooth functioning of the assembly with meaningful debates and government accountability, but alleged that ministers are unprepared and promises remain unfulfilled.
देखिए, हमारी रणनीति तो सदन को चलाने की है। हम चाहेंगे कि सदन जो है गरिमापूर्ण तरीके से चले, जनता के मुद्दे आएं, इश्यूज आएं, सरकार उनका जवाब दे और एक सार्थक चर्चा सदन के अंदर हो। ये हमारी प्राथमिकता है। इसमें हमारा जो भी सहयोग चाहिएगा वो पूरा सहयोग हम सरकार का करेंगे, लेकिन हम चाहेंगे कि सरकार मुद्दों से भागे नहीं, जनता के जो मुद्दे हैं उनका जवाब जरूर दें, चाहे जैसा चाहे वो जवाब दें, उनकी इच्छा है, लेकिन जवाब देना तो चाहिए ना। जवाब देते नहीं हैं, मंत्री तैयारी नहीं करके आते हैं, ये जो वादे किए वो वादे पूरे नहीं हो रहे हैं। बजट आ गया, महत्वपूर्ण बजट है, लेकिन पिछले जो बजट दिए हैं उन बजटों के अंदर जो वादे किए क्या वो पूरे हुए हैं? ये सारे इश्यूज जो है इस सत्र के दौरान रहेंगे। सर्वदलीय बैठक के तो और भी बातें हैं, वो बात करने के बाद में फिर आप लोगों के बीच में रूबरू होऊंगा।
That's all for now. For more news, keep watching Hornbill TV.